Welcome to Whiteboard Wednesday. I'm Martin, this is the whiteboard, and we are learning all things IT asset management. This week, what are the business benefits of standing up an ITAM practice? What benefits can I stand to gain from doing ITAM? So 5 business benefits of doing ITAM. First one is the money. And there's 4 R's to think about here. Remove, reuse, reconfigure, and renegotiate. 30 to 40% of all software, whether it's on-site, in the cloud, wherever, is wasted. So remove that software, you're going to save money. You can reuse hardware and software. You know, when somebody leaves your organization, you can claw back their laptop, you can claw back their Salesforce subscription and any other software, any cloud instances they might have stood up, and let's reuse them. You can reconfigure. We don't need to go down the high street in a Bugatti Veyron to pick up our shopping. We need assets that suit the job in hand. Let's reconfigure to save money. And finally, you can renegotiate. If we know exactly what we're using, how it's being used, how it's configured, we can renegotiate to save money so that we can still meet business requirements, but at less cost. Second business benefit of doing ITAM is addressing risk. 3 areas of risk to consider around IT assets. You have contractual risk, you have regulatory risk, and you have legal risk. So contractual risk, an example is you don't ever buy software and own it, you buy the right to use software, and that comes with terms and conditions. Typically they're in a contract. Breach that contract and you're pushing risk onto your business. You also have regulatory risk, so depending on what sector, what country you live, there's going to be regulatory risk around the use of IT assets. For example, if you work in banking or the finance sector, the regulators are going to say, if you are reckless with your use of IT assets, you're not going to be able to run your bank anymore. And the final type of risk is legal risk. So, for example, you can't just take old IT equipment, stick it in the dustbin, stick it in landfill. There are legal requirements around how you do that. There's also copyright law that protects IT assets, and you need to adhere to those too. Now, if you've done cost and risk properly, you're going to have some fantastic data in which to create very happy users, very happy stakeholders. And we're going to call that operational efficiency. If you have great asset data, you can support your users and stakeholders better. You can be more agile, you can move faster, you can respond to business requirements a lot quicker. If you know what you have, you know what's being used. You can also take your IT asset data and share it with the rest of the enterprise. So CMDB, procurement, enterprise architecture, projects, HR, all of these departments can benefit from great IT asset data. And the result of that is they can do their jobs better, they can make smarter decisions. The next business benefit is if we're doing all this properly, we've got great asset data, we're managing our investment in IT like an asset, then we're going to be a lot more secure. ITAM is foundational to cybersecurity. How on earth are you supposed to secure what you have if you don't know what you have, where it is, and how it's configured? ITAM is foundational to doing information security properly, and it's very useful for supporting our friends in IT security to keep our data safe, to keep our network safe. The 5th and final benefit of having an ITAM practice is our impact on the environment and sustainability or green IT. So the choices we make in IT, hardware, software and cloud services, has an impact on the environment in terms of energy consumption and sustainability. And if you consider the extraction of certain resources in order to make IT equipment, for example, IT has a disproportionately large impact on the environment. And by having ITAM practices, by understanding what we have, how it's used, how it's configured, we can enable the business to make smarter decisions around choosing sustainable partners, sustainable suppliers. We can be smarter around usage, so we can reduce our energy consumption as assets are used throughout their life cycle, and we can make smarter choices when it comes to the end of life of assets too. So that's 5 business benefits of standing up an ITAM practice.